Good morning, everybody. This is Mr. Lowe with today's lesson. So, green notebooks out on your desk. Let's make sure we have a pencil. We are ready to go. So, find the next blank page in your notebook. You are going to write lesson 1-4, and then you will put today's date, which should be 9/3. And we are going to start with understanding decimal place value. So far, guys, today this week, we have been working with place value. We looked at whole numbers. We looked at a decimal place value yesterday. And then we're going to do similar to what we did in lesson 1, where we took our whole numbers and we found different ways to write them in standard form, expanded form, and expanded form using exponents. We're going to do something similar with decimals. So that's kind of the plan for today. So we got Jo. She picked a seed from her flower. The seed has a mass of 0.245 grams or 245 thousandths grams. What are some different ways we can represent 0 and 245 thousandths? So we are going to write it in standard form. First, as we know, standard form is the normal way we see a number. So when I look at 0 and 245 thousandths, I'm going to write it exactly the way I see it in standard form. There's my ones place. I have nothing in my ones place. I've got my tenths, my hundredths, my thousandths. I have a 2 in the tenths place. I have a 4 in the hundredths place. And I have a 5 in the thousandths place. So that is 245 thousandths written in standard form, the normal way we see a number. Let's take it a step further here now, and we're going to go into expanded form. Just like with whole numbers, you guys, expanded form is digit times place value. Digit times place value. So if I am trying to write 245 thousandths in expanded form, I don't need to include the 0. I can just kind of skip that piece. The first digit is a 2. So I go over here and I write the digit 2 times its place value. So now I have this tenths column. Because tenths is a decimal, we can write it in a couple of different ways, right? Tenths can be written like 1/10, or we're going to write it as a fraction. So for us in our lessons today, everything's going to be done as a fraction. So let's go ahead and do 2 times 1/10. Whoops, not 1/12. That should be 1/10. There we go. That's better. So digit times place value. So I've got my 2 times its place value of 1/10. I need to add to that the digit. My next digit is 4 times its place value. Its place value is in the hundredths place, which is 1/100th. 1/100th. So I would do 4 times 1/100th. Now we know how 1/10 can be written as 0.1, 100th can be written as 0.01, and you'll see that later on in 5th grade. So now I can close my parentheses, and now I got one more digit to add to that, the number 5. So I've got my digit 5 times its place value. It is in the thousandths place, which is 1/1000. And then just like before, there's my 1/1000 for the thousandths place, and then I can write that as 0.001 as well. Again, you won't see this part until later on in the school year. We start multiplying by powers of 10. The last thing you want to work on is the last way we're going to look at writing out numbers is in number name form. Number name form, we talked about it last time. It's just spell it out. So we are literally going to spell out 245 thousandths. So 240 5, 245, and then the place value of that 5, thousandths. You have to include the THS. That is going to be really, really important. So make sure when you guys do your number name form, you spell it out and you add the THS to that place value. So again, as we're looking at these guys, today you're going to be asked to write numbers in standard form, you're going to be asked to write numbers in expanded form, and you're going to ask to write numbers in number name form. So let's go through a couple of examples, kind of see how it all works. Not the examples yet. One other thing we're going to talk about are equivalent decimals. Now, equivalent decimals are decimals that are equal to each other. That word equivalent literally means equal. It has that equa, which I believe is a Latin stem. Mrs. Closures will love that. Equivalent decimals have the same amount. So 2 other decimals equivalent to 1.4. So I've got 1.4, which is 1 4/10. So take a look at this picture. Here's my one hole. Each one of these tall columns is a tenth, okay? Because there are 10 of those in one hole. Now within each of those columns, there are small little boxes. Each one of those boxes is a hundredth. So I could say 1 4/10 is equivalent to 1 40 hundredths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 tens are 40. Now I can also say 1 4/10 is equivalent to 1 400 thousandths. So I want you to look closely at what we did here. Inside each one of these little boxes, they are broken down into smaller lines, smaller sections that are tenths. So there are 10 little marks in here, and there are 10 in each of these, and there are 4 of those long sticks. So that's where we get 1 4/10 equals 1.40, which equals 1.401. I want you to notice any decimal, it doesn't matter what we have. If we are using 1.6, I can write an equivalent decimal just by adding a 0 after my 6. So 1 6/10 is the same exact thing as 1 60 hundredths. And I can add a 0 or 2 zeros to say 1 6/10, which equals to 1 60 hundredths, which also is 1 600 thousandths. So you can add as many zeros as you want. It doesn't matter after that decimal point. That's kind of how we're writing equivalent decimals. And moving on. So I want to write this number in standard form. So let's think about this for a second. I've got 2 times 1 plus 4 times 1,000. First thing I would do is I would make a place value chart. And I would do it to 1,000. Of course, now my pen's not going to work. Oh, maybe it will. There we go. So this is my ones place. Well, 2 times 1 is 2. So I put that 2. Put that 2 right here. 2 times 1 is 2. So that one's done. 4 times 1,000th is 4 thousandths. 4 times 1,000th is 4 thousandths. That 4 goes in the thousandths place. There's my thousandths place. There's my 4. Everything else is now a 0. Everything else is now a 0. So we've got 2.004 is equivalent to that number right there. And you would type that in your answer sheet. We would be all good. Let's do another example here. Write 2 decimals that are equivalent to 2.400. Oh, that's kind of ironic. 2.400. So let's go back. Here, what we did was we added zeros onto our numbers to make them equivalent. We just added a 0 and added a 0. You can do the same thing except taking zeros off. So what I could do, I could chop that 0 off, and now my new decimal is 2.40, which would be right there. The other thing I could do is chop that 0 off and make it 2.4. So again, that would be these two you would select, B, and you would select D, because they are equivalent to 2.400. And if you think about it like money, it's the same thing. If I have this 2.4 is really $2.40. This is $2.40. This is $2 and 400, not cents, but 400 hundredths. So we want to look at this and say, okay, these are going to be the same. I got 2.400. I chop a 0 off. I got 2.40. I chop a 0 off. I got 2.4. One more example. They want us to write 467 thousandths in expanded form. That's going to be digit times place value. So start with the digit 4. Multiply it by its place value. That 4 is in the tenths place, which the tenths place is 1/10. Plus the next digit, 6, which is in the hundredths place. So it's 6 times 1/100th. Plus 7, that's my next digit, 7 times 10, or not times 10, 7 times 1, it is in the thousandths place, so I would be 1/1000. And there you have it, guys. That's really all it is. You need to make sure you don't have a lot of work today. I think there's only 12 problems. But you want to make sure that you go back, if you need to, go back and come watch this video again. It is posted in Google Classroom, so you should have everything you need to get started. When you finish, you are going to work on Prodigy. We are still taking the placement test in Prodigy, and then we should have a little bit more fun. So you should be able to get this done today in class. All right, you guys. If I don't hear from you, I will see you later this afternoon. Have a fantastic day, everybody.